let's first bring in Chief Patient Officer at the Wellness Company, Dr. Drew Pinsky. Dr. Drew, thank you for being back with us. You know, we have the inscription aspect of it. I know you've read all about it. I don't want to read too much into that until we know more. I want to be careful in our reporting. I don't want to rush to judgment. I do believe it'll probably be a part of what happened or motivation behind this, but let that play out with the evidence. But one of the things we were talking about is I think we have, as a society, become numb. I think that we have gotten too used to language that is so coarse that, you know, we dehumanize people, especially, I would argue, the left, and I will play some of it in this hour. And the things they say, the closing arguments against Donald Trump in the last election. He's a Nazi, he's a racist, he's Hitler, he's Stalin, he's Mussolini. That is the embodiment of evil. For many years during election cycles on this program, Dr. Drew, I keep telling everybody what the Democratic playbook. Republicans are racist, sexist, misogynist, homophobic, xenophobic, Islamophobic, transphobic. They want dirty air and water, and they want to kill grandma. Here's my question, and this is your profession, and you're great at your job. Does that have a dehumanizing effect for people that may be prone towards mental illness, a hypnotic effect even, where it could... they might begin to believe these things that they hear day in and day out are true, and that ultimately, if they plan some type of violence, they even think they're doing God's will?
Yes, there's even a word for this, or a formal name for it, called stochastic terrorism. Stochastic terrorism is the chronic use of outrageous implications against other people, epithets that cause people to believe that they are true, and lone wolves become motivated. It's called stochastic terrorism. And just think about it this way. If President Trump is Hitler, well, then any patriot should be interested in taking out Hitler. And if Hitler's henchmen are around him, then they too should be assailed, because any patriot would want to do that. That's how outrageous this stochastic terrorism is. And at the same time as they're doing that, they're literally turning people into cartoon characters and dehumanizing them. I was rather shocked today when I saw Elizabeth Warren being approached, asked to help us turn down the rhetoric, and she immediately turned it on President Trump, saying it all starts there, he's so awful. They cannot, it seems, they can't let go of this rhetoric of turning somebody into a figure, which is through brainwashing and stochastic terrorism, a figure that anyone would be interested in conducting violence against.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing. Look, I'm not saying that conservatives are completely innocent, but the level of vitriol and hatred, we call it Trump derangement syndrome, the absolute rage against this man, the argument I would make, the people on the right that you hear crazy things from are not mainstream conservatives. They're not accepted in conservative circles, with very few exceptions. But we're hearing this language regularly from the top leadership within the Democratic Party, the top candidates, the most outspoken voices, and the same with the media. I mean, we have 2 cable channels. Their whole mission in life is to hate on Donald Trump 24/7. Never mind 3 broadcast networks and most major newspapers. Thoughts?
Yeah, well, some of the rhetoric coming out of these organizations has been shocking. It's disturbing, but I'm trying to look for the silver lining in this. I know Charlie would want us to do that, and I am seeing rays of hope here and there. I've even seen people who had significant grievances against Charlie Kirk who were still able to say, but this is outrageous. This was not warranted. We should mourn this appropriately. On the other hand, I see other people telling people that they shouldn't mourn, how they should mourn, and I've seen behavior that is so outrageous. I said this last night. If you are engaged in behavior of celebrating somebody's murder, you need to look in the mirror and try somehow to find the better angels of your nature, because the reality is you have something in you that is sinister and it is being exposed by the stressful circumstances we are in right now.
Yeah. What do you think? Does a person like this have a conscience? Does a person like this feel guilt? You know, they call it Catholic guilt. I went to Catholic schools 12 years. If I snap at somebody, I feel terrible and want to apologize. What's missing here?
Yeah. Well, you're asking a super complicated question, and I really can't answer it accurately, except to say there are some interesting features of this particular case, if indeed that is the perpetrator. He didn't seem to have left a manifesto. And if you think about the manifestos we've been seeing lately, they've been rambling, nonsensical, sometimes psychotic. In the case of the kid, I think it was a young man that shot up the Catholic Church and killed those children, his manifesto that was on a video was so cold-blooded, it suggested actual psychopathy. And if indeed somebody is a psychopath, no, they really don't have emotions, they don't have guilt. But there's a range of phenomenon going on here. This sort of thing, to me, could either be that or somebody who, again, was hypnotized, persuaded, dehumanized someone, and really felt they were a political operative doing the right thing. Remember, social ills get done. Social ills are always done in the name of good. Always. There's never somebody intending to be bad.
You know, it's funny. I stated last night, and I stated after the joint session speech with President Trump, and when he introduced the family of Laken Riley, they lost their daughter. She was out jogging in Georgia. The family of Jocelyn Nungary, of a beautiful 12-year-old girl, horribly raped and murdered, and that young man that became a Secret Service agent that night, he had beaten cancer up to that point, and Democrats wouldn't stand. And I said at that moment, to me, it was a tipping point that the Democratic Party, not but one of them stood. Nobody clapped. And how can you not? To me, they lost their heart, their soul, their conscience. That is not a political statement. This should be apolitical to stand for a family that lost their daughter, another family that lost their daughter, a young man who aspired to be in law enforcement. He beat cancer and becomes a Secret Service agent. That's just simple, basic humanity to me. Dr. Drew, we always appreciate you being on the show.